Just have to deal with it. My commitment is to ensure I will bring a government that will redirect, empower, and govern Nigeria in the way governance is expected all over the world. And based on that, I've always said consistently that the more you pull people out of poverty, the more you reduce the criminality that is in the country. And I've always argued that they are doing what they are doing because they could see the poverty in the country. In a country where those people are in government, are richer than entrepreneurs, you manufacture poverty. As a governor, I served a state for 8 years, and you can go to that state and see not one day did I ever borrow from any financial institution in Nigeria, and that I was not in any position or have never been invited by anybody to question about their missing money. The day I left office, I wasn't owing any contractor that have delivered this project. I wasn't owing any supplier that have delivered. I was not owing pension, gratuity, salary, or anybody. And I can say that in 3 banks in Nigeria, Access Bank, Fidelity Bank, and Diamond Bank, I left in each $50 million, over $10 billion for the state. I have never borrowed. I've served faithfully, and I left their money. We must be able to chase out those who, where they've passed, nobody can account of what they were given. Well, as governor, everybody knew what we did in community leadership. We were able to, using what we can call modern communication, using telephone and everything, to provide for every community a vigilante system that was working, provided them with vehicles, communication equipment, linking them to work with police. And you can go and see it. We are the only government that had every community was provided with pick-up manpower that were paid directly.
2027 presidential election is coming again. It's around the corner. So I just want you to take your time, listen to Peter Obi as he's marketing himself again for 2027 presidential election. We all have a lot to do if we truly want to get it right after 2027 presidential election. We have a lot to do. So take your time. These are the messages that you need to listen to now. You need to, this time around, we need to listen to all of them, all the presidential candidates for 2027 presidential election. We need to assess them again, scrutinize them, and see what they have to offer. You see, the problem, the major problem, even if, okay, in 2023 presidential election, all the debate at that time, all the debate, interview, Tinubu were running away from all of them. Tinubu were running away. He never attended anyone. He dodged all of them. There was no time to scrutinize him, to assess him, to ask him major questions, important questions. He dodged all of them. But even some campaigns, he didn't. But he knows what he was going to do, what he planned to do. Others were busy debating, selling themselves to Nigerians, how they are going to save the country, how they are going to move the country forward, how they are going to take the country from consumption to production level. Tinubu were busy making arrangement with INEC chairman and the Supreme Court, using everything, taking money from all the politicians, APC politicians, to bribe them. He was doing that. It was fine. But INEC was selling hope to Nigerians, which Nigerians, other candidates, believes. But now we see that, okay, it did not work. In 2027, everybody, all the presidential candidates now understand that, hey, we are not going to take that. This time around, there is a way out. What is that way out? Watch the video. We'll come back and talk about it. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Be your guide and run for me.
Government. When I left office by only one measure of development as at that time was Millennium Development Goals. By United Nations and Nigeria federal government, which is party run by party I don't belong, I was number one. I was number one in education. I was number one in health. I won the Bill Gates Prize. Federal government of Nigeria gave me the award for having the best road network in Nigeria. So, but that is aside. So saving money was an addition of excellent performance. You can go and verify. But that's notwithstanding. What we are here to do today, I've said before, on the comment he made, do not vote for Peter Obi because I'm from the southeast, or because I'm an Igbo man, or because I'm a Christian, or because of any condition, or it's my turn. It's the turn of Nigerian youth and women. It is nobody's turn. I want you to vote for Peter Obi because I'm qualified, because I'm competent, and I know what I can do to put this country out of the brink. The office of the president and the office of the vice president is not the same. There's a commander-in-chief. The button stops at somebody's desk. As president and commander-in-chief, the decision and the box stops on my desk. I will be responsible to Nigerians. Labour Party is in this election to win and serve Nigeria. Our voters, we're taking votes away from the traditional parties who have structures, which is structure of incompetence, structure of bad leadership, structure of criminality, looting of Nigeria, and bringing us to a level where we become a failed state. So we are saying to Nigerians, especially the younger ones, come, let's take back Nigeria and take it with people you can trust. Election, what we are selling is trust. Of all these candidates, who will you trust that can manage this country and your resources well? What is weird is that you have 6 million people with guns outside, and you have less than that. That supports the need, one, for a complete review of your security architecture, starting with increasing the personnel. Police, to the best of my knowledge, is 320,000. For a country of 200 million, it's unacceptable. If you compare with Egypt, it's 100, they are 1 million. So let's increase that to at least 1 million. And then I support the issue of local government, state, 3-level policing. Thereafter, the most important thing to stop and reduce that criminality is to start pulling those people out of poverty. The more you pull people out of poverty, the more you reduce criminality. Today, all over Nigeria, you have 35% unemployment. With your youth, who are in their productive age, we have 60% youth unemployment. You can't have that, and you have crisis. That's where the guns are domiciled. So you replace that with jobs, replace it with employment, replace it with entrepreneurship. You invest in your micro, small businesses where these youths are domiciled by supporting them, pulling them out of poverty. I've advocated that the goal of Nigeria in terms of physical access is your cultivated land in the north. We can't have that huge land, and we have the level of poverty that we experience in the north. And I've given examples with so many countries of the world where things have worked differently. Niger State have 8 local governments, or about 7 or 8 local governments that is occupied by bandits, and they are living on 76.3 thousand square kilometers of land. It's unacceptable. Arable land that is fertile. When Netherlands, if you minus water, it's 33,000. And if you go there, their last year export of food was over 100 billion euros, which as at that time was about $120 billion. If Niger State can do just 2% of that, for the land space they have, 2.5 times their land, they earn about $2.4 billion. Imagine what Niger State will be. Those local governments will not be taken over by bandits. Fact checkers, I hope you're checking.
Yeah, we are just going to start with Mr. Peter Obi, who has just challenged us. Yeah, so his last claim, factual claim, was that the Egypt police force population is more than 1 million.
About 1 million.
You're actually correct.
Okay.
You are correct. So according to official sources, that's correct. Yeah, more than 1 million. Mr. Peter Obi claimed that he was awarded the best governor in Nigeria in the health sector.
I didn't say MDG.
No, you actually didn't say MDG. Yeah. Okay, sorry. By Bill and Melinda Gates.
Please let's allow the fact checker to do its work. To do his work.
Show that
thereafter the candidates will have an opportunity to respond.
On July 30, Mr. Obi was awarded the best performing governor on the eradication of polio in the southeast geopolitical region by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and the award was presented by then Minister of State for Health, Mohamed Fatih, with a cash prize of 120 million naira. So that's what we actually got immediately. Yeah, thank you. Mr. Peter Obi claimed that he was the first impeached governor to be reinstated by the judiciary.
No, I said the second. I was here. Yeah.
They actually said first at the time. When they were speaking, was actually said first. Yeah, that's why. If you said second, you are correct. After Rashidi Ladoja, that's what our team actually got was first. So if you said second, that's correct, sir. Yeah, thank you. Correct. I've said it loud.
I said that police force is about 320,000. I went to the present IG of police and told him that the police force is 370, and he said to me 370,000, and he said to me, so I want you to quote him. He said to me, no, it's about 320. I'm quoting him before you fact check. You haven't reached there. For the other things I've said, what I said is that I was first to come through the court, second to come back for impeachment, then to redefine the election segments and was able to correct the tenure of governor, that is me. That's why I was first, second, first. And I assure you that if you aggressively, as I intend to do, cost waste and cost of governance, because there's a lot of waste in governance that you can cut. By the time you deal with it, then you do the right things. By the time you're able to tackle all loopholes of revenue leakages, including the oil theft, you're back to where you have a balanced budget. However, if there's need to borrow, I'm not against borrowing, I've always advocated it. You borrow for production. It's allowed. Every country of the world is owing, but you borrow, even those we're using, for example, like Singapore, everybody calls, is 120% of their GDP is in debt. So you borrow for production. If we borrow for production, then we would have been better off today, even servicing our debts. So I will do whatever it takes to ensure that we bring a balanced budget and strictly borrow for production, which will grow the economy and be able to pull people out of poverty. And I've maintained consistently, if you want to deal with corruption index measurement, which is a critical thing in Nigeria, is failing every day, you have to look at the candidates, the character, the integrity, the competence, everything about the candidate, and ask yourself a question. All of us are coming from somewhere. Where we passed, can we go there and verify? Somebody has been governor of a state. Let's start by appointment. How many of his relations was given appointment? Go to Anambra State. Nobody from my town was a commissioner. Nobody from my town was chief of staff, anybody. Go and check it in Anambra State. Go and check. There's no piece of land allocated directly or indirectly to me or any of my siblings. Go and check whether any of their money is missing. I've challenged those agencies. Go and check Anambra State money. If it's missing, hold me responsible. So that's where you start. So we are not going to go into, if a man says, I'm going to do this, like they said, if you can manage a penny, we will give you a naira to manage. So let's check the past. People who are saying that this and that, how was their part? I've passed through parts where shared corporations and everything. Go to there and see if any of them, there's a place where they will say, Peter Obi did this or that. Even in banking, I never lent money to any of the company I was involved. You must borrow money from somewhere else. And above all, I've borrowed money locally and internationally. I can say today that by the time I left England, I have the highest credit rating any English person can have. Based on that business today, I'm still being invited. So personally, I do not get involved in that. And I have a vice who I believe is that tries on the same thing. Both of us will fight corruption because it's critical, and we'll fight it head on, where we'll bring it to a minimal, if not entirely eliminate it. Because it starts from you. If you're not stealing, your family is not stealing, those around you, you can control them, you put it in check. So I'm saying to you, we will go in there and manage the resources of the state. We've done it somewhere and we want to do it at the center. If you look at the first issue, which you mentioned, issue of solving the structural problem, it has to deal with the issue of whatever everybody says, issue of diversification of the economy. Let me put it on record. The Nigerian economy is well diversified. Oil, as the measure, contributes less than 10% of our GDP. But the problem is that it contributes about 50% of government revenue and about 80% of our foreign exchange earning. Our biggest contributor to our GDP today is agriculture. If you look at our about 180 trillion economy, agriculture contributes about 4 to 1 trillion, which is about 20-something% of that economy. So it is not, it's very diversified. Our trading is contributing over 15%, ICT is contributing over that. So what you need to do, the reason why we are not getting enough or it's not working is that as diversified as they are, they're not productive. You need to increase the level of production. That is the problem. That's what I was talking about agriculture. You can have almost 60% of your arable land uncultivated, and you still, if you're able to invest on the other areas, your manufacturing today is about 9%, it should be about 15%. If you're able to invest in the land, invest in this, and they're able to contribute to export goods. Just imagine if you can feed yourself. We are 220 million. Imagine if you take 1,000 and you can feed yourself. You can move at an average of 1,000 a day. By 1 year, you will triple, you would at least get your contribution of agriculture to about 80 trillion. And that will change the dynamic. So it's a question of how do you ramp up your production. We want to move the country from consumption to production. It is critical when you do it. In terms of how many women serving in government, I keep saying you have to go to and check example. We have assured that women and youth will be the engine of our government, and that I've shown an example of how many women who have worked with me as governor. You go and check from deputy governor, chief of staff, commissioner for finance, commissioner for education, commissioner for local government. I can go on and on, all women. So that is given. How many women that serve in government? Issue of being commander in chief without having a military experience. Well, if you have checked up the presidents I've known all over the world, including the present Prime Minister of Britain, he doesn't have military experience. You just have to deal with the right people who have that experience, hire them, and if you're commander in chief, you have the political will to do the right thing, that's it. Colonel will hire you. I will make sure you do the right thing. In terms of oil theft, I've said it openly, and what I'll do everywhere. Devolution of powers to ensure resource control. I have said consistently, I'll move Nigeria from sharing formula to production formula. And I'll show it, because there's so many countries, there's so many states here that cannot continue going the way they're going. Today, we have a problem in Borno State. Borno State is 70.9 thousand square kilometers of land. That is more than Belgium, Israel put together. Yet, go and check their production in agriculture. Go and check what is happening in Borno State. There's so many things you can do with Nigeria, the vast land in the north. So, devolution of power and resource control, we will deal with, and we'll deal with it aggressively and ensure. I'm not happy with what is happening in Niger Delta. It's unacceptable. Look at what they're going through. We've exploited their oil over the years. We need to fix it. The remaining resources are used to fix Niger Delta. Why produce resources all over Nigeria? And every part of Nigeria can be a huge resource production center. And that's what Labour intends to do. How do we tackle the issue of IPOB, Boko Haram, on all agitations? I've said repeatedly, I will dialogue with every agitator. There's nothing wrong in agitation. I will consult. Governance in democracy is about consensus. I will consult, I will dialogue, I will meet everybody. Dialogue is normal, agitation is normal. So we will deal with everybody. We will make sure we sit down and talk and resolve issues amicably. Issue of power. Issue of power is one that we intend to tackle aggressively. First is that today, Nigeria have installed capacity today of 12,000 plus. And that, even if you produce, it cannot be wheeled, because your transmission line can only take about 6,000. And that is a problem. And your distribution infrastructure is also weak. First is to upgrade and ensure that I deal aggressively with the transmission and distribution infrastructure to be able to take what we can produce immediately, which is about 12,000. On that top of that is to deal with issue of ensuring that those who are in generation today are supported by making sure they get dedicated gas supply with policies that are consistent, and then start dealing with new ones that will come in, including bringing in embedded captive power, anything you can do to ensure renewable energy, to ensure that you ramp up that as quickly as possible. It can be done. We have over 100 million Nigerians without electricity. According to World Bank, it's 90 million, but for me, it's over 100 million. That is unacceptable. So you have to declare war on power. If South Africa with over 50,000 megawatts can declare emergency, we will declare war here in power. In terms of flood control is a simple, I don't know how to describe it. The reason why we have the flood situation we have today, and I thank so many governors who are intervening, including Governor Okowa, and what they are doing to manage the situation. But it's something Nigeria can manage and reduce the devastating effect by just dredging. And the silt in all these are rivers. River Niger and River Benue. By working on them, by channeling things properly, by doing dams and everything. If Nile in Egypt can maintain today the Nile and it's functional, where they say no Nile, no Egypt, and Nile is 6,650 kilometers long. Nigeria as a country can deal with Niger, River Niger, that is only 4,184 kilometers long, with River Benue that is 1,004. If you bring two of them together, they are still about 1,000 short of Nile. And yet Egypt can deal with it. We can deal with this too. And contracts over the years have been awarded, but people have mismanaged it. And we will deal with it. I assure you that this situation cannot arise. Even now that is the situation, I will stop everything and go and stay there. When I look at what Baisa is going through today, I will be living in Baisa as commander-in-chief with them, showing them party, showing everything with them to show that it is a country. On issue of, I think, with all this, for me, it is a question of How do we continue to ensure that our economy is productive? And I've shown that this economy can be productive. I'm a wealth creator. And what this country needs is people who can create wealth. People who have created wealth can manage it more efficiently than allowing the country to be managed by those who have never created anything.
Listen to that. Okay? The only solutions to all these, we must force electoral reform. We must force it. The INEC should sign it, or they should sign it into law. Electoral reforms should be signed into law, or it must be signed into law before 2027. Now it's good. A lot of people are pushing forward, and now we have a new INEC. Next month, even this month, today is 1st of November. So I think 2 weeks from now, we'll be able to test the integrity of the new INEC chairman, Professor Jos Amopitan. We're able to test his integrity. If he truly mean what he said, yes, governorship election is quite different from, or presidential election is quite different from governorship election. The governor, Professor Amopitan, might not have interest in doing favor, giving favor to any president, any governorship candidate, but for presidential candidates, that's where the problem is, and that's what matters a lot. Anyways, you listen to everything Peter Obi said. Like I said, we must force them to sign electoral reform into law. 2027 is around the corner. You see the problem we are facing today. Everything we are going through today, everything has collapsed under Tinubu in 2 years in office, less than or over 2 years in office. Everything has collapsed. If Tinubu has even went for any of the debate to see, able to see what they were going to say or do, blah blah blah, he never. Look at Peter Obi. If he has given the opportunity, because he won the election, if he has given the mandate to do everything he said of this video, even if it's not 100%, at least this country wouldn't have been suffering the way they are suffering now. Nigeria wouldn't have been going through this hardship. Insecurity, we wouldn't be having this level of insecurity. We would have started putting people out of poverty. Now, when they said Tinubu is working this and that, just imagine, let's imagine now, because the pulling people out of poverty is one of the things you need to do to start solving the problem of insecurity. You can't say you are solving insecurity and you are not pulling people out of poverty. Do you understand? You are not creating wealth. You are not building schools. You are not safeguarding. You are not saving all the communities, and people are not going to the farms again. Yet you say you are saving. Yet you say you are looking. You are governing. What are you doing? It's not working. Anyways, the EFCC is doing his own. All those people you forcefully break into their house. You took away everything they had, all the gadgets, everything they used to work. All their vehicles have been taken away from them without providing jobs for them. Well, so what do you want those people to be doing? Even some of them now, the only source of income they had is what they are using to work. You took it away from them and you ask them not to do that again. So some of them has rent due, they need to pay. Do you know the level of kidnapping and what is causing this kidnapping? All those things. Let's put that aside. Now, you see, when we talk about governance, just imagine, let's imagine here. This 15 trillion, I think it's 15 trillion coastal road that Tinubu is building. Just for example, if Tinubu has put that 15 trillion into fixing our already existing roads, all the dilapidated roads, all the roads that are not motorable, if he has injected that 15 trillion into fixing all the roads, linking all these different roads that are not motorable, fix all of them within these 2 years in office, because some of these roads now will not take more than 3 months, some of them will not take more than 6 months, some of them will not take more than 1 year. Meanwhile, the roads will be going on across the states, different states. Do you understand? So imagine you put that money into linking or fixing all the existing roads, link all of them together, make sure they are motorable. Then some of these places where kidnappers are hiding now, they will not have time, they will not have opportunity to hide there. That's number one. Or imagine say the 15th, okay, imagine say they said they want to renovate airport. If after renovating this airport, what has it got to do with you who is suffering, who does not have job? Renovating airports now, what has it got to do with the development of Nigerians, or with the hardship that Nigerians are going through? What has it got to do in terms of ease, stress, pain, poverty? No. Imagine say 720 something billion budgeted for renovation of that airport. Imagine say that money is being injected to expand or add to our electricity. If that money is being added, right, we now have 4,000 megawatts, 4,000 plus megawatts. If we have added this money to expand it, so that, as he said, we now have 12,000, they would have started building now. Since they want till now, they would have started building, increasing the megawatts. that would have give light to Nigerians. Even the fuel is increasing, the fuel price has gone up. Meanwhile, Peter Obi wouldn't have done that. Then you now have constant electricity to do your businesses, your little businesses. Some villages will now have electricity to do their businesses. They don't have to depend on petrol, right? That would have gone a long way, and that money would have done solve immediate problems. When you're talking about pulling people out of poverty, you are solving immediate problems. When you finish solving immediate problems, before you can think of, okay, you want to do other things, you want to expand for the future sake. Do you understand? So Tinubu has not done any of this, or is building that. Imagine, say, 39 billion wasted for renovation of a vice presidential office in Abuja till today. That building has been abandoned after 39 billion renovation. Has been abandoned because the vice presidency was accused there of budging, that he's not going to move in, that different devices has been installed in that house to monitor his activities. So because of that, he's not going to move in there today. That after renovation, we can renovate that project with 39 billion naira. The project renovation will not built from scratch. Imagine, say, that 39 billion naira has been put into production, like creating, constructing factory, building factories. Now that money, the same time they renovated that, maybe now or by now they would have finished building some factories. That money would have built how many factories? That factory would have employed thousands of people. Do you understand? That factory would have employed thousands of people or hundreds of people. You see, imagine, say, the other one in Abuja that we can renovated with, after renovation, he renamed the project after Tinubu. Imagine that money, because that one is not important. Imagine, say, that money too injected into production, right? That one would have also gone a long way. So we see the level of wastage. Imagine, say, that yacht that president pay money for, right? Imagine that money too is being injected into agriculture, right? That agriculture 2 years ago now would have seen massive production. Now $50 billion, I'll be 50 billion naira. Tinubu's machinery, tractors that are imported from Belarus for agriculture till today, they are still there unused. They are still there. Imagine that money now, all those things are working. If you have, why those things, why are they not working? Because there is no serious government. They don't mean it. They just want to do that for show off. Now it's on record. Tinubu imported that, but it is not on record. People are not talking about it again, that they are not functioning, they are not working, they are still unused, packed there. So these are the problems. We can go on and on and on again. The level of wastage in government is just too much. It's just too much. Imagine the presidential jet, Tinubu. He doesn't. If Peter Obi, that one they have before, they say it breaks down. Peter Obi might not interested in buying private jet, or even if he has to buy, not to that Escalade that Tinubu bought. Do you know how much? Imagine Peter Obi wouldn't have done that. Imagine at that time when they started, 150 million SUV for senators, right? Those things are not important. Peter Obi wouldn't have done that. Do you know the cost of that SUV for senators at that time? Those things are not important. That money would have gone a long way, right? That money would have gone a long way in terms of healthcare, right? We could go on and on and on and on. We could go on. So this is a problem. Now we're talking about this. I'm saying now that next year people are going to experience this hardship. The level of hardship some are going to experience last year is going to be difficult than what you are saying today. Why? Question. The thing is, majority now, many communities, they are not farming, because if you do not farm this year, you can't harvest next year, because kidnappers, banditry do not allow people to go to the farm again. They don't farm again. They depends on go to the market and buy from whichever is coming from. Though those people ordinarily they farm, they don't go to the market to buy. They even sell to others. They produce, they sell to the neighboring communities. All those things now, some of the community has been displaced, so they don't go to the farm again. They don't farm. We now have more people in IDP camp. So we need to look at all these. You need to start solving immediate problems. Do you understand? So 2027 is coming again. We must not make mistake, and we must force electoral reform, electoral law into signing electoral law. We must force it on them. They have to do it. And the 2027 election is rigged and by. There's no. Don't forget about Tinubu is. Whatever he's doing, all the parties members are decamping to APC. They are decamping. Don't just worry yourself. Don't worry yourself. They are not, Nigerians are not decamping with them. Do you understand? They are busy doing that. We are not decamping. So on that polling unit, we shall see. Just give us free and fair election. Let's see. You say you are popular, you're a master of strategy. You have strategy to destabilize all the opposition party. But you cannot give authority, you cannot push forward, you cannot sign electoral reform into law, right? So that everybody can have this level of, okay, let's go and do things. If you win the election at the polling unit after signing up, fine, and then we'll respect you. We know that you are popular in my area. So let's see how popular you are in Nigerians. Let's see the thing you have done for Nigerians in 4 years in office. Now you have opportunity, you have everything, you have advantage. You have advantage now. The only thing we just needed from you, let all the party members, let all of them declare to APC, but give us one thing: electoral reform signed into law, so that whatever happens at that election at the polling unit, then we know there is a problem. Election will be cancelled. They have to call for another election. They have to annul the election result, or they have to call for another election again. Things like that. We know from the polling unit, you are voting anywhere you are. You see the transmission of result to the IRF immediately. These are what we wanted. Now you have opportunity, you have everything. All the governors are now with you. You have all the money, you have controls of everything. You have done 4 years in office to convince Nigeria they should vote for you. You've done 4 years. So all these people coming in, they are not scared of you. Only thing they wanted is sign electoral reform into law, so that everybody can go into this competition and do whatever they have to do what they could. Let's see who is going to defeat each other. Let your work, 4 years work, speak for you. Do you understand? That's how it should be. That's why we need to push forward. Now, this electoral reform must be signed into law. What do you think? Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more.